Okay, here's a short little video on what I mean by strong placement or strongly aspected. We were talking about the different elements, and I mentioned how you might have access to those elemental energies like fire, earth, air, and water, even if you don't have any planets in one of those fire, earth, air, or waters. And so we talked about the sun can be strongly placed or strongly aspected, and that can give you that fiery type of energy. So strong placement, there's a lot of different ones to talk about. I won't go through them all, but strong placement starts with being on one of the four angles: the ascendant, the descendant, the midheaven, and the nadir. If you have a planet conjunct one of those, it is said to be strongly placed. I would also make a case for planets that are the cross quarter degrees of your personal chart. So, a planet halfway between your ascendant and your nadir, halfway between your nadir and your descendant, between your descendant and your midheaven and your ascendant. These halfway points are also powerful. Um, there are other special degrees of the zodiac, which are just really strong degrees for certain planets. There are planets that are said to be exalted in certain signs. For example, the moon is said to be exalted in Taurus. Now, the moon, if you watch the first video, I mentioned how the moon is access to the watery feeling nature of an individual. Well, Taurus is not a water sign, yet the moon itself is strengthened by being in the sign Taurus. So that's another way you can have a strongly placed planet in your chart and still have access to the fire or the water or the earth or the air. And then the aspects, strongly aspected. So let's say your Mercury is conjunct your Jupiter. Well, Mercury is that thought, that airy element. If it's conjunct Jupiter, it's getting really boosted. And in fact, if your Mercury or any one of the four planets I named, Sun for fire, Moon for water, Mercury for air, and what are I leaving out? Or Saturn for Earth. If any one of those four are being aspected by one of the three outer planets, and if you saw that other video, you know I mentioned how I don't reckon the three outer planets the same as the seven inner planets. And I will link to that video in this video as well. But I consider the three outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, to be what I call spiritual amplifiers. And I use the word spiritual here to denote something other than physical. There's the physical realm, which you can touch, taste, see, smell, and hear. And then there's the non physical realm, which I use the word spirit for. And so you can't see Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So therefore, they exist outside of the physical. Of course, you can use a telescope and see them, but you can't see them with your own eyes. So if your Mercury is being aspected by one of those, it could be really turned up strong. So that's what I'm talking about by strong aspect, strong placement in your chart. So how that helps you as you're looking at your chart, trying to decide if you have access to all four of these elemental energies. All right, see you next time.